101 ESPN.
I don't know where he fits. Hey, Rich Hill has sat down to join us for a few minutes, and I had to ask Ben because we don't know each other. I'm is that who I think it is? I'm not sure.
I was pretty sure. I actually had to ask somebody before I went up to Joe Mather. I was like, I just got here yesterday. I have not met Rich Hill yet.
Yeah, I know. So
wasn't positive what his number was, so he pointed me in the right direction.
So if he gave you a blank stare when you we apologize.
No, don't apologize. That's fine.
Rich Hill, the newest Cardinal, joins us here on 101 ESPN. I'm Bernie Miklasz. This is Brian Feldman. Good to meet you.
All right,
Very nice
sir. Welcome to St. Louis. What is a former
Thanks.
Cub doing here? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's worked out all right for some former Cubs.
Yeah.
It has. You know, guys have had a good run here, so it's been all right. Hey, how are you feeling? I guess that's the most important thing.
I feel great. I feel great. The shoulder surgery went really well. I got fortunate. They were supposed to do a lot more extensive work in there, and when the doctor, got into the shoulder, realized that it wasn't as bad as it seemed in the MRI. There was just a lot of junk in there, and on that scale, out of 7 out of 10, the amount of junk that was in there. So they cleaned that out, and everything's been kind of free and easy since then, which hasn't happened in a couple of years. So
I know players don't like making excuses, but how much do you think some of the numbers that took place last year was health related?
Oh, well, I can't give it a percentage, but if I was to throw one out there just to say, I'd say maybe 85, 90%. I mean, it was a struggle from, probably the first couple weeks after I was done with the rehab stint that I had out of spring training, because my elbow had a little inflammation and it blew up, and out of nowhere that was another thing that I had no idea why that happened. But then the shoulder started to kind of get aggravated, and it affected my arm slot. And the way it works, it's funny because very much like a knee, some days they say, it feels great today, and they can go run, they can do whatever they want to do, play racquetball or whatever it might be. And that's the way it was some days with my shoulder. I'd go out there and throw, and I said, oh wow, it's great. It must have been just tendonitis. It's just, and every day I kept telling myself that it was tendonitis. And some days it would lay down and lay flat. The actual labrum would lay down and lay flat. It wouldn't flap down and kind of get caught in the joint, and it wouldn't create so much pain. So it was those days were great. But other than that, the days that weren't like that, there were more days than that than not.
Rich Hill with us here on 101 ESPN. And it's obviously very early in camp, but are you finding that you're now able to consistently repeat your motion and everything? Everything's staying in place and arm slot, all that stuff.
It's the other day was just getting the consistency down the day one of the bullpen. I think just kind of getting your legs under you, and for the first time throwing off of a mound outside. I come from Boston, so it's somewhere where it's kind of you're always indoors and you're throwing off a plastic mound all the time, or a carpet or something, anything you can find to throw off of. But then to come outside, and then the next day we had a day off and then came back out, and the second bullpen was much better, and everything was a lot cleaner and consistent. So I'm looking forward to having a season of much more consistency, because I can get my arm in that arm slot. And for people that have had any kind of shoulder issues or pain, they understand that it does affect where your release point is.
No doubt. We saw Mark Mulder, unfortunately, just battle that for 2-3 years. It felt so bad for the guy. I mean, and he'd come in after games or after a throw, and you could just see the torment, because it's like he knew that his arm had to be in a certain spot or whatever, and he just couldn't get there, and he just couldn't maintain the consistency. It was like mental torture. It really was.
It wears on you. It does. I mean, honestly, it does wear on you, because you know what you're capable of. You know what you can do, and you know that you've done it before, and you've been very good in the past. And now having the surgery and getting through that, kind of that little gauntlet, now it seems like there's a big upside coming.
So I guess the question is the Rich Hill that we saw pitch for the Cubs, I guess, in 07 when you were a very, very good pitcher, is that still in there? I mean,
absolutely, yeah. No doubt about it. I had a great off season. Everything was coming out very clean. The ball had great life to it. Curveball is, in my opinion, better than it has been in the past. And everything seems to be enhanced, because it's just the program that I did this off season, putting on weight, getting stronger, and having the ability to later on in my bullpens, I've noticed, my endurance and stamina and strength has stayed the same, as opposed to in years past, it might have decreased.
So when you were looking for weighing offers and figuring out which team to sign with, were you looking for a team that there was an opening in the rotation? Does that mean, is that your goal to go make a team's rotation? You see that the Cardinals have a number 5 spot open, and that played a part?
Yeah, that did definitely play a part. The first of all was to be healthy and get through that, and then the next step was to find a place that would be a great fit. And it just happened to be St. Louis. There were a lot of offers out there on the table. There were I would say over maybe 15 teams, and to pick the Cardinals, there were a lot of things that factored into it. Dave Duncan was one, National League was another, and also the Central, where I've had success.
Wanted to ask you about Dave Duncan. Rich Hill is with us for a couple more minutes here on 101 ESPN. Again, it's early, but has Dave Duncan given you anything that you're finding useful or valuable?
Yes, a couple things. We're just I think right now it's just getting through probably another live BP. We got that coming up tomorrow, and then maybe we'll see if there's anything in there to work on. But the other day the bullpen went really well, and when things are going well, there's not much to be said. So
he does have an amazing touch. I kind of gave him the sort of the nickname. He's like the horse whisperer of pitching coaches.
He's done
I don't know
job.
what it is, but so many guys come to him who have coming back from injuries or loss of confidence or something, just out of whack. And he's a quiet guy. It's not like he screams and hollers. He's very very low key communicator, and we've seen it. I've been covering this team in this market since the mid '80s, and we've just seen it. And he got here in '96. Seen it so many times.
So he's done it. He's got a great track record, and he's been able to take guys very similar to myself, coming off of surgery and making their way back and transforming them into what they were before. And I feel like I can even be better than what I was before. I mean, I'm not just throwing it out there, but the surgery is done. I didn't think I'd be able to honestly get back to where I was, and it just feels like I've gotten back and then some. And for Dave and even the meeting that we had this morning and the entire staff, the other two organizations I've been with, I mean, they're great organizations, but I haven't seen anything like this before.
Well, we really wish you the best, and it's good to hear that you feel so good about everything, mentally, physically. Yeah. So, that it would be great to see you win this job, man. So, because we remember how good you were in 2007.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, thanks for sitting down with us.
No problem.
Thanks, Rich. Good luck.
All right, guys.
That's Rich Hill here on 101 ESPN.